touch with loved ones who might be unable to travel due to restrictions caused by the pandemic, online shopping and banking to minimize time spent on long queues, and the list goes on. So, as the regional regulators for electronic communications, we are excited to work with our partners and the governments in our 5 member states to ensure the passage and implementation of the EC bill. Without further ado, I now invite Honorable Stevenson King to deliver the opening remarks.
So, to the enactment of Thank you, Madam Moderator. ECTEL Council of Ministers, Chairman of the ECTEL Board of Directors, Mr. Dwayne Noel, other members of the ECTEL Board of Directors, Acting Managing Director of ECTEL, Ms. Cheryl Hector Fontenelle, General Counsel of ECTEL, Ms. Sally Ann Cotter, staff of ECTEL, NTRCs, the OECS Commission, the ECCB, the World Bank, the CTU, and the ITU, representatives of ministries of telecommunications and the legislative drafting units, electronic communications service providers, governments, and people of the ECTEL member states, good day. It is my privilege to open this event, which marks the start of a very exciting campaign aimed at sensitizing citizens of the ECTEL member states of benefits that will accrue to them with the enactment of the Electronic Communications Bill, as we usher in a new chapter for the electronic communications sector. It has been a long journey to get to this point. But in many ways, the new EC bill is quite timely, as it will form the foundation of the new digital economy for the member states. The Telecommunications Act, which has been enforced in the ECTEL states since 2000, was enacted to liberalize the telecommunications sector and to introduce new licensees, new services, and increased choices to consumers. The liberalization of the sector was a resounding success, thanks to advocates and champions like former minister responsible for telecommunications in St. Lucia, Mr. Calix George. The sub-region moved from a sector with mobile voice penetration of 7.8% in 2002 to the significantly higher rate of 95.9% in 2020. In 2002, internet access was via dial-up service with a penetration rate of 4%, and by 2020, fixed broadband penetration was 22.4%. Mobile internet service was introduced in 2012, and today we have a mobile broadband penetration rate of 73.1%. We celebrate these successes, but we know that for the new digital economy, it is imperative that all citizens have access to what the International Telecommunications Union and Alliance for Affordable Internet has termed as meaningful connectivity. This means that everyone must be able to enact and to connect to the internet every day using an appropriate device, having enough data with a fast connection. I know some persons may think that we have already achieved this. You may say, everyone I know has a mobile phone. This may well be true, as mobile penetration across the ECTEL member states is recorded at roughly 96%. Given this, it would appear that almost everyone could have internet connectivity through mobile broadband. However, this is not the case, as mobile broadband penetration was recorded at approximately 73%. This means that we have a usage gap, meaning internet is available to persons, but they are not using the internet. This must be addressed if we want to participate in the digital transformation of our economies. New regulatory tools are required, therefore, to address these challenges in the electronic communications sector. The enactment of the new EC bill will mean a significant upgrade to the tools available to regulators and benefits to consumers. The ITU identifies 5 generations of ICT regulatory systems. We now have a 3rd generation regulatory system in the ECTEL member states, heavily focused on promoting a competitive environment, but with very limited consumer protection. While this approach was fit for the era of liberalization, it is woefully inadequate for the new era of digital transformation. It is time to move the sector towards a 5th generation regulatory system. This means that the legislation and regulations must be aligned with the economic and social policy goals of the governments of the ECTEL member states and must also allow for cross-sector collaboration. 4 of the ECTEL member states have embarked on a digital transformation of their economies under a new Caribbean digital transformation project funded by the World Bank. This project aims to modernize the public sector to deliver digital services to individuals and businesses, provide training for employment opportunities in digitally enabled professions, and adopt digital financial services. This effort at ensuring digital inclusion for all citizens will be frustrated if the broadband usage gap in the ECTEL member states is not closed. A major strength of the EC bill over the current Telecommunications Act is that in addition to ensuring open entry into the sector for licensees and regulatory certainty through harmonized policies in the electronic communications sector of the ECTEL member states, it includes a number of provisions to address the current mobile broadband usage gap and to create an enabling environment for the digital transformation of the member states. The GSMA has identified the main reasons for the usage gap as affordability of mobile broadband and lack of digital skills. In the ECTEL member states, the concern over quality of service has also emerged as a barrier for the adoption of mobile broadband service. We have been living with COVID-19 pandemic for almost 2 years now. And as we were all forced to transition to the digital environment, there was significant divide between households where persons were able to transition almost seamlessly to online learning and working from home, and households where persons had either limited access to broadband service or could not afford broadband access. The pandemic has reinforced the need to address the inequity caused by the broadband usage gap, which puts unconnected households at a significant disadvantage. The Broadband Commission for Sustainable Development, established by the ITU and UNESCO, has determined that broadband is affordable when it costs less than 2% of monthly gross national income and has set a target of 2025 for all economies to meet this benchmark. At present, the cost of mobile broadband in the ECTEL member states ranges between 2.74 and 7.2% of monthly gross national income. This means that many of our citizens are at a disadvantage compared to economies like the Republic of Barbados, which has already met the target with the cost of mobile broadband at 1.88% of monthly gross national income. The new EC bill provides for the regulation of entry-level services packages for all licensees. This is a powerful tool that will provide the opportunity to address the affordability concern and move us closer to eliminating the broadband usage gap in the member states. Quality of service on both fixed and mobile broadband networks has been a challenge across the ECTEL member states. Under the new regulatory framework, ECTEL will propose updated quality of service regulations. These will replace outdated regulations which are no longer fit for purpose and do not allow the regulator to acquire useful information from service providers to address the numerous complaints from consumers. Updated regulation will allow for use of new tools for monitoring and measuring the quality of service offered by providers, and importantly, the quality of customer experiences when using broadband and other electronic communications services throughout the region. In addition to the challenges of affordability and quality of service, we must also address the concern of limited digital skills affecting some of our citizens. To totally benefit from affordable, high-quality broadband service, persons must have the requisite digital skills. We should not merely focus on having the skills to consume social media and to surf the net, but also the skills necessary for digitally enabled professions, including programming, data visualization, digital design, and remote working with digital teams. There are also opportunities for digitally skilled entrepreneurs to use social media as a platform for their services. The AC bill does not directly provide digital skills training. This is an important component of the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project, and the enactment of the EC bill is crucial to the success of this project. ECTEL has recommended the new EC bill to the member states, and to date, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis has passed the EC Act, though it is not yet in force. In the other member states, the EC bill is under active consideration at the level of the Cabinet of Ministers. At the second part of the 42nd meeting of the ECTEL Council of Ministers on 12 November 2021, the Council committed to the enactment of the EC bill in the first quarter of 2022. Mindful of the challenges posed by the new Omicron wave of COVID-19, the Council remains committed to this important task to bring benefits to the citizens of the ECTEL member states. The success of the digital transformation of our economies and the projects planned by our governments under the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project will depend on the efficient provision of digital services over resilient networks and affordable access to those digital services by all consumers. Today, the focus of this event is the EC bill. However, ECTEL has also recommended a mobile electronic communications roaming services bill to the member states. It is proposed that both bills be enacted together to provide optimal benefits to the region. The EC bill is focused on addressing affordability of broadband and other electronic communication services locally. The roaming services bill, on the other hand, is complementary and will allow for the elimination of roaming charges for citizens traveling within the ECTEL member states, resulting in affordable broadband and other electronic communication services across the ECTEL member states. On behalf of the ECTEL Council of Ministers, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the staff of ECTEL and the NTRCs for getting us to this point. And I reiterate the commitment of the Council to the enactment of the EC Bill and accompanying roaming services bill to bring a new regulatory regime that in focus on consumer welfare, regulatory certainty for licensees, and will serve as the foundation on which the new digital economy for ECTEL member states will be built. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister King, for your informative remarks which outline the importance for there to be meaningful connectivity for everyone to carry out their daily tasks, as well as the need to bridge the digital divide to boost efficiency throughout our member states. We'll now have the welcome remarks by Mr. Dwayne Noel, Chairman of ECTEL's Board of Directors and member for Grenada.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Chairman of ECTEL Council of Ministers, Honorable Stephenson King, Senior Minister and Minister for Infrastructure, Ports, Transport, Physical Development, and Urban Renewal, St. Lucia. ECTEL Council of Ministers, members of the ECTEL Board of Directors, Acting Managing Director of ECTEL, Ms. Cheryl Hector Fontenelle, General Counsel of ECTEL, Ms. Sally-Ann Cotter, National Telecommunication Regulatory Commissions, regional and international partner organizations, representative of Ministries of Telecommunication and Legislative Drafting Units, electronic communication service providers, government, and people of the ECTEL member states. Good day. As chairman, I am honored to represent the board of directors at this important event to kick off the education and public awareness campaign for the new electronic communication bill. I believe that the enactment of the EC bill is crucial to the continued development of the electronic communication sector and is in line with the purpose of ECTEL under Article 4 of the ECTEL Treaty. As the chairman of ECTEL Council of Ministers indicated, the EC bill is expected to bring significant benefits to the citizens of the ECTEL member states and to provide new tools to ECTEL and the NTRCs to address current challenges in the sector. Today, I want to focus on the role of the EC bill in promoting a robust broadband supply chain in support of elimination of the broadband usage gap in the member states, identified by the chairman of council in his remarks. At present, across the ECTEL member states, there are two major suppliers of broadband service that are vertically integrated operators. They own or operate the submarine cable providing international connectivity. They own or operate a national terrestrial network, and they provide last mile broadband connectivity to customers via fixed and mobile networks. This is not necessarily problematic on its own, but the absence of a clear infrastructure sharing regulation to allow other operators access to potential bottleneck infrastructure can frustrate efforts to deliver competitively priced broadband services to consumers. Recent disasters like Hurricane Mary, which severely affected the electronic communication network in the Commonwealth of Dominica, as well as our almost complete dependence on broadband services in response to the COVID-19 pandemic has made it clear that we need resilience and a redundant network. Investment in robust infrastructure by all service providers is essential to ensure network resilience and redundancy in the electronic communication sector. This is therefore encouraged and supported by the EC bill. However, we also recognize that under some circumstances, it may be necessary for one service provider to access the network of another service provider. For example, access to submarine cable capacity is essential for broadband service, but it is not practical for every service provider to deploy a submarine cable. It may therefore be necessary for service providers to seek access from the submarine cable operator. The Telecommunication Act do not include provisions on the term and conditions under which a service provider can access capacity from a submarine cable operator, which is a significant challenge in the ECTEL member states. Infrastructure sharing is not, however, limited to access to submarine cable capacity. And the EC bill includes clear terms and conditions to be included in the infrastructure sharing agreements at all points along the broadband infrastructure value chain, including access to the submarine cable capacity, national terrestrial networks, and last mile access where broadband reaches consumers' homes. As we transition to a digital economy and move more of our daily activities such as healthcare, education, and financial transactions online, we must take a holistic approach to the network resilience and redundancy. This includes promoting investment in infrastructure and in enabling sharing the infrastructure where necessary. It is also important that we collaborate with other agencies, including energy regulators and ministries of infrastructure, to expand opportunities for infrastructure sharing to ensure that we have robust electronic communication networks. As I close, on behalf of the Board of Directors, I would like to acknowledge the dedication of the staff of the ECTEL Directorate in getting the EC bill to the point where it has been submitted to the member states for consideration. I also recognize the commitment of the Council of Ministers to the enactment of the EC bill. ECTEL will continue to engage with the member states to bring the EC bill into force, to allow citizens of the member states to benefit from the new regulatory system. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairman Noel, for those remarks. It was interesting to learn that the EC bill has provisions to ensure adequate infrastructure sharing, to encourage other service providers to access the sector and provide more competitively priced broadband services to consumers. So it is time for quiz number 1. You can take a screenshot of the question, and please remember, it's for anybody participating via Zoom or Facebook. So here's a question. Which ECTEL member state has already passed the Electronic Communications Act, and on what date was it passed? Say the month, day, and year again. Which ECTEL member state has already passed the Electronic Communications Act, and on what date was it passed? Say the month, day, and year. So here's the instruction. Please do not put your responses on Facebook. That will not count. So here's the instruction. All answers must be emailed to ectelquiz@ectel.int. That's ectelquiz@ectel.int by Friday, January 28th. That's tomorrow, 4 p.m. The subject line should read EC Bill Virtual Launch Quiz. EC Bill Virtual Launch Quiz. Participants may answer both questions, however, a person can only win once. We will then place the names of everyone who submitted correct answers in a digital wheel and go live on our Facebook page to select one winner for each question. And the prize is a $50 US voucher Amazon gift card. So I heard the minister give a part of the response in his address, that's a clue. But for the other part, if you need to search, go to our website, www.ectel.int, and ensure you'll find the answer right there. Okay, so we are going to have a very brief musical interlude. Sit back and relax as Mr. Donovan Edwin serenades us with a song.
Yeah, Daddy G, drop the beat there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Edwin. That last song by St. Lucia's very own Tennyson John. Thank you so much for that. We do have many gifted musicians in the Caribbean, so stay with us until the very end because Mr. Edwin will be performing a few more songs for you this afternoon. So it's time for an interactive Q&A session on the EC bill, where you will learn of the benefits to consumers in ECTEL member states. So let's see how much you know. But if you don't know too much, don't despair, as you'll be in good hands. And I'll hand you over to my colleagues, Ms. Cheryl Hector Fontenelle, as ECTEL's Acting Managing Director, and Ms. Dalian Cotta, ECTEL's General Counsel and Secretary to the Board of Directors.
Thank you very much, Coretta. Good afternoon, everybody. And as Coretta indicated, we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to have a quiz, but this time, unfortunately, no more prizes. But we are going to ask your assistance with we're going to ask your assistance in identifying some of the benefits and the new tools that Mr. King spoke of in his address. We have 3 multiple choice questions, and we're going to ask the persons who are participating via Zoom to click on the answer that they believe is correct when the question comes up on their monitor. For the persons who are participating on Facebook, we have not left you out. We're going to ask you to submit your response via the chat, and in that case, we're going to ask you to just identify the number and the letter for the answer. So for example, if you think for question number 1 is A, you can put into the chat number 1A when we come to that question. So as I indicated, when Minister King presented his remarks, he identified a number of benefits that the EC bill will bring to consumers, and we are excited about that, and that is why we are very excited to have this launch. And throughout the course of the year, we will continue to have programs on our education and awareness project. We also will identify a number of new regulatory tools, and I think we identified one so far, which is allowing the regulators access to regulating the terms and conditions under which submarine fiber is offered by submarine cable operators. But we also think that the EC bill will provide clear guidance to service providers about all the regulatory initiatives. I'm now going to hand you over to the General Counsel, who will start with question number 1 and 2, and then I'll come back for question number 3. Scotta?
Thank you, Ms. Fontenelle. So again, you have 30 seconds to respond and to click your answer. The first question, what is the main principle of net neutrality? Again, what is the main principle of net neutrality? Okay, I believe the poll is now locked for responding. Oh, wow, we have 100% of our viewers getting the correct answer, and it should be 1A. So those of you on Facebook, if you have also indicated 1A, that is the correct answer. Essentially, the EC bill includes provisions on net neutrality, which will require all internet service providers to ensure that they treat all internet equally. However, net neutrality does not prevent an internet service provider from adopting reasonable network management practices, but information on these practices must be made available to internet users. So thank you, that was excellent. We move on to question number 2. So get ready. What is transparent billing? Again, you have 30 seconds. What is transparent billing? Okay, I think the poll has now locked and we have our response. It's unbelievable. It's another 100%. So it seems that our viewers actually know all our answers. And for those on Facebook, if you selected 2B, essentially the EC bill will allow for transparent billing in such a way that all service providers are to ensure that the customer receives a monthly bill, but that bill is to be simple and easy to understand. Also, all your bill is to ensure to have all the required information, including all the services that you have actually used. And finally, once a customer requests an electronic copy of their bill, that electronic copy needs to be accessible for at least 12 months. This is one of the key aspects of our consumer protection under the EC bill. So thank you for your responses, and now hand you over to Ms. Cheryl for the last question.
Okay, thank you, Sally Ann. And we've been doing very well so far, so I'm thinking we'll have another 100%. So we have again 30 seconds for question number 3. And this time it's to do with retail tariff. The question is, what does retail tariff regulation mean? 30 seconds. Here we have the results. Okay, I think we stumped the audience a little bit with this one. This one had a little bit of a trick. You have to read the 2 of the responses very clearly to get it correct. So we have 73% of respondents getting it correct. And retail tariff regulations really mean, so the answer is C. And for those persons who put in their answer on Facebook, we are saying number 3, what the answer was C. It's ensuring that reasonable prices as well as terms and conditions are offered for services to end users. The important point here is that the services in question must be offered to customers like you and me. The little trick was those persons who answered B. The difference here was that we were looking at services from one service provider to another. In that case, in the telecommunications sector, the electronic communication sector, we refer to those as wholesale services. So again, we want to thank you for your participation. Just note in terms of the retail tariffs, the first 2 questions focus on benefits to consumers, net neutrality, as well as clear and unambiguous billing. And the third one is a combination of both. There will be a benefit to consumers from regulated retail tariffs, but also it's a tool that is provided to the regulator. And as we indicated, and again, just to reiterate what was said by the chairman of the council, Minister King, the EC bill framework will provide for the regulation of entry-level services. And in particular, as we said, the point is not just to have benefits to customers, but also clear guidance to service providers. So that will be done in consultation with service providers. The regulator will then set affordable prices and terms and conditions for all entry-level services, including broadband services. Again, thank you for your participation. Great job, everybody. Thank you. Back to the person.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fontenelle and Ms. Potter. That was exciting. I learned quite a bit. So some of the terms in the EC bill may be rather technical, but this session has provided us with more knowledge about neutrality, retail tariff, and consumer protection. So please visit www.ectel.int and read the EC bill to get greater detail and become more familiar with the benefits to consumers. So we're going to jump to quiz number 2 and a brief presentation on what some of the activities in the campaign will look like. So, number 2, name the 5 ECTEL member states, the year the treaty was signed to establish ECTEL, and where the treaty was signed. Once more, name the 5 ECTEL member states, the year the treaty was signed to establish ECTEL, and where the treaty was signed. and the instructions are the same as before, but I'll repeat it. All answers must be emailed to ECTEL quiz, that's ECTEL quiz at ectel.int by Friday, January 28th, that's tomorrow at 4 p.m. The subject line should read EC Bill Virtual Launch Quiz. Participants may answer both questions, however, a person can only win once. We will then place the names of everyone who submitted correct answers in a digital wheel and go live on our Facebook page to select one winner for each question. And again, we're giving away another Amazon gift card valued at $50. So I hope you're excited about those prizes and that you are researching your responses. And when we're finished, we'll be getting some emails in our inbox. So onto the presentation. Here are a few activities that will form part of our EC Bill education and public awareness campaign. We will be creating and sharing infographics on our various social media platforms, which I'll share with you later. We hope that these creative pieces of information will help to clarify the provisions of the EC Bill and help consumers to gain a greater appreciation of its benefits. We're going to launch a social media viral challenge. This challenge will encourage students in our member states to use their creativity, whether through poetry or song, to outline the benefits of the EC Bill to consumers, especially to our youth. They will post their entries on our Facebook page and encourage their peers and family members to view and like their posts in an effort to make them go viral. Next, we're going to use our existing Facebook Live show called ECTEL Bites to zone in on various topics relating to the EC Bill. This show is on our Facebook page at ECTEL every last Wednesday of the month. Next, we're going to have a competition for Caribbean media practitioners called Spotlight on the EC Bill. And at this juncture, we're going to share various topics relating to the EC Bill with the Caribbean journalists, and they'll be challenged to create interesting stories that will be shared on their various news platforms throughout the region. We're going to also stage virtual talks. We'll be collaborating with our partners to stage virtual talks in our 5 member states on the EC Bill. And then we're going to have popular theater production. We're hoping to do this in person, but we had to rethink it considering the pandemic. And so we're going to start off with virtual theater productions. And we're hoping that this will help the ordinary person to understand what the EC Bill is all about, thereby making it a household name. So to keep on top of everything that's happening, I'm encouraging you to follow us on social media. You can find us on Twitter and on Instagram at ECTEL Authority and on YouTube and Facebook at ECTEL. So if you've not yet started to follow us, please go like and follow us for more information and to keep abreast of the many activities for the EC Bill and other projects that we'll be staging at ECTEL. Thank you so very much, and we look forward to your participation in all of our activities. So I now invite Ms. Ferda Felix Polius, ECTEL's Acting Director of Economics and Finance, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Pleasant afternoon to all participants of this virtual launch of the Electronics Communication, the EC Bill, Education and Public Awareness Campaign. It is my pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority, ECTEL, to all who have made this event a success. I would like to firstly thank the Honorable Stevenson King, Chairman of the ECTEL Council of Ministers, Senior Minister and Minister for Infrastructure, Ports, Transport, Physical Development, and Urban Renewal in St. Lucia for his speech. By highlighting the current state of use of electronic communications, the Council Chairman's address has set the tone for our education and public awareness campaign on the EC Bill. I wish to also record our sincere appreciation to Mr. Dwayne Noel, Chairman of the ECTEL Board of Directors, for his remarks on securing the broadband value chain, in which he emphasized the importance of eliminating the broadband usage gap. I would like to thank our Acting Managing Director, Ms. Cheryl Hector Fontenelle, General Counsel, Ms. Sally-Ann Cotter, and the entire ECTEL team for their unwavering commitment to this process. More importantly, I would like to thank the ECTEL Council of Ministers, ECTEL Board of Directors, ECTEL management and staff, both past and present, the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commissions, the legislative drafting units of the ECTEL member states, the ministries of telecommunications and the electronic communication service providers in the ECTEL member states for their valuable contribution in the development of the EC bill. Sincere thanks to our Communications and Media Relations Manager, Ms. Coretta Crooks-Charles, for conceptualizing the format for this virtual launch, and to our steel panist, Mr. Donovan Edward, for so skillfully and melodiously performing at our event. Thanks also to the GISs across the Eastern Caribbean, as well as to UETV for sharing the live stream on their respective Facebook pages. Finally, I would like to thank our local, regional, and international partners and the general audience across the various media platforms for participating and for playing their part in promoting this event. We are excited about the advancement in electronic communications for learning, work, and for business. We know that the EC bill will continue to contribute to the revolutionization of the electronic communications landscape, which will improve the lives of citizens in the ECTEL member states. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Polis, for delivering the vote of thanks. We are indeed grateful to everyone who was instrumental in bringing the EC bill to this stage, and to those who will join us along the way as we roll out this exciting campaign. So it's now time for the virtual group photo. My apologies to those on Facebook, but still smile. I'm just going to encourage those on Zoom to put your cameras on for a quick second so you can take this photo, and I'll let you know as soon as we're done. And then, if you're still at your desk, feel free to stay with us for a little while, because Mr. Donovan Edwin is going to play a few more tunes to take us out for this afternoon. Awesome. Nice seeing the cameras on. A few more to go. So many faces. So just keep smiling until I tell you it's complete. We're almost there. We have to go through a few pages, so just give our colleague Luana a chance to go through the pages, the front pages, to get everybody. Luana, you just signal to us when you're complete with the photo, please. Thank you.
I'm done.
Awesome. That was the longest smile ever. Thank you so much, Joanna, and thanks to everybody for taking this time to spend with us as we launch our EC Bill Education and Public Awareness campaign. Again, our heartfelt thanks to you for joining us via Zoom and on Facebook, and to everyone who played their part in this launch. The work continues. We look forward to your support as we strive to promote the passage and effective implementation of the electronic communications, or EC Bill for short, in our member states. So please share this link with at least one person, one friend, one family member, as we shine the spotlight on the EC Bill and the many benefits to consumers. Thank you once again, and do keep safe. Take care. And do stay tuned if you so desire to listen to Mr. Edwin play some more songs for us. Thank you.